Hello and welcome to the program Voice of Christianity, Isa ke Log, a program by the Christians, of the Christians, but of course for all of you audiences, as Christ and Christianity are for everybody. This program is an initiative of Jain TV to provide a platform to the minority Christian community on the electronic media. We live in a world that is full of contradictions. We also live in a world which has a 12 hours day and a 12 hours night. But that is a very natural process, but it is a process which gives two complete contrasts of day and night. We also have different seasons. We have a season which is completely dry, and then we have a season which is completely wet with rain. We have a season which is summer, and then there is a season which is winter. So we always live in this world of two opposites, if you like. And last week, if you remember, in our program and Voice of Christianity, we were discussing one such paradox. If you remember, the paradox was that while the great economist Malthus believed that in order to have resources available to the large number of people, it is very important that we control the population. He held that the more people there are, the less progress there would be, because these populations would be eating away, eating up all that the world would produce. But we discussed last week that there is another view, just the opposite of what Malthus believed, and that was, if you remember, the topic was populations and paradoxes, and it was based on a book by a professor of history, Angelo Bertolo, who is now with me, and I am happy to introduce Professor Angelo Bertolo once again to you in the studio, and who has written this book, which last week also we had shown you on our program, and he speaks about population problems and paradoxes. So he basically holds the view, which sounds very difficult to believe and almost sounds contradictory, that when there is more population, there is more progress in the world. Professor Bertolo wants to also remind us that he is not taking any moral position with regard to populations, population control, or greater population. He is not exactly talking from the point of Christianity or from the moral perspective. He is a professor of history, and he wants to base his argument purely from historical facts. How over the centuries, he shows, wherever there has been greater population, there has been a greater development. And last week we had interviews with him, and he was talking about Constantinople, where how Christians became Muslims and things like that. We will continue, Professor, your argument from there. One has to remember that you have a lot to say, of course, but we have to say in short so that we can complete your arguments in this program.
So let's say just a simple statement. From Thomas Malthus' times today, the population has increased at least 6 times, and today we have more food for each person in the earth than in Malthus' times. And as there have been progress, scientific progress, technological progress in this period, we can say yes. So this is just contrary to what Malthus says.
I think that's a very good argument, Professor. You're saying that
yes.
At the time of Malthus there was only 800 million people, and there was still not enough food, and now the population has increased almost 7 times or 8 times. But also along with that, the food production has also increased. So that is one concrete example, or one concrete.
Yeah, that is one concrete example. You must remember that man is something new. Is a biological species, of course, but there is something more than that. There is inventiveness. There discovery of new technologies, new sources of energy, no? And all this has led to this situation today. Oh, by the way, progress and more food at the disposal of everybody does not mean happiness. progress and happiness are two different things. Don't ask me what happiness is in any case, but there are two different things.
Professor, you were also in Indonesia giving a seminar to nurses, and what were you trying to tell them?
Well, the director of a Catholic hospital in Indonesia asked me to give a speech, a longer speech to the nurses. I said that the nurses, they have not this cultural background to understand all the passages I make, because it would take more than 1 hour to explain all the passages or the causes and effects. But anyway, it could be good just the same, because if the nurses hear another voice, because all televisions, all media say family planning programs diminish the births, abortion must be legal, all these things, no? And if everybody says that, this is the truth. If they hear another voice, no, at least it casts some doubt.
So what is that other voice?
I mean, the other voice is this: when the population grows, when there is a high birth rate, this is directly linked to progress, scientific progress, technological progress, economic progress. But the other voice, when the population diminishes, when the birth rate is low, even the economical level diminishes. You lose even scientific knowledge, technological knowledge. This all history must be taken into account. That cannot be explained in 2 minutes, of course. If the nurses, or if on television you hear another voice, at least you are taken aback. At least you do not believe what the newspapers say, what the media say. Anyway, this information, or this scientific discovery, let's say, is not new. When I was 17 years of age, 60 years ago, just reading history books, just reading Greek and Latin, all these things that you do in school, and presenting a new era, even the time the history book, when a new era in history was presented, it was the book made mention that there was an increase of the population. So the idea that I'm just saying it today and last time and everywhere is not absolutely new. No, it's only that the ideology, the mass media, all are in favor of abortion, in favor of diminishing the population, that everybody believes that it's true, because everybody says that, but it is not true.
So last time you gave example of the Roman Empire.
Yes.
But that was very old. Do you have any recent examples of the recent past in the history, where you show that as the population progressed or increased, there was a progress of a country?
Yes. Where should I start? Let's say United States, that we know a little better. Soon after the independence, Benjamin Franklin wrote about the high birth rate in his country. This was a sign of great progress. In the 19th century, when there was the westward movement, when the colons with the covered wagon went to the west, conditions were not easy. But people had confidence in life, and the families were numerous. There is a movie, also a film, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, for example, just to show the... Look at India today. Since the independence, or the beginning of the century, the population has increased. Has only the population increased, or also the economy, or also the technology, also progress in a general sense? This is one.
I think India is a very good example.
Yes,
because,
of course.
It is true, I think, that the governance was not managed properly earlier, so they were always trying to control population. But today, India stands at the crossroad of great progress in the world.
Yes, of course. This is an example. Anyway, this high birth rate is not destined to stay for 1,000 years. So it is a normal phase. It will last 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 200 years. Then it will the trend will change, of course, because nothing is eternal. Also, the other phase, when the population is dwindling, is diminishing. In this case, it's also limited. It's not a tendency that is going to last for all eternity, of course. But in any case, when the population diminishes, it diminishes even to a point that this population disappears. So there is death in one civilization, as there is death in a single person. So a man is conceived, is born, grows, develops, comes to maturity. First he has high sentiments, then in more mature age he reasons. Anyway, he can use reason because before he had high sentiments, and then he dies, of course. He can die at the age of 100 for natural causes, or could die even before. A civilization behaves more or less, not exactly the same, but more or less in the same way. So when the population diminishes for natural causes like that, that population disappears, losing even technological scientific knowledge. You have civilization that disappeared.
I think that's a very interesting point Professor Bertolo is making about how when a population decreases in a country, that the whole technological development and everything can disappear with a decreasing population. Is a very important point to think about. It's time for a short break. Keep watching Voice of Christianity.